answer instead then, weren't you?
You want to see this of a pause? Swing round the corner of your bed.
We're ready.
Ready when you are, yeah?
Ready, Roy?
Yeah, let's roll it.
Hog or stick love?
Oh, is it like that now? We've got a giggly audience. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to part 3 of fortune telling for fun and profit. We made a little bit of a mistake. We should spell profit P-R-O-P-H-E-T. Prophecy. But there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very special guest this afternoon who is going to teach you everything he knows about Nordic runes. 25 stones that look like random squiggles. How are you ever going to learn those? He's going to teach you that in an hour. Plus he's going to teach you about...
Don't tell them.
Oh, I won't tell them.
Yeah.
You've seen him on TV doing the stuff he does. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause. Dr. Jonathan Royle.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We are awake. Excellent. So we haven't covered the runes, but before we do, I'm just going to briefly touch back on tarot, with only one tarot card. Now I know you've already learned how to read the tarot, essentially. You have. But there's just a couple of things I want to say that Stu didn't mention. And the Magician's the best example, well it is to me personally the best example of it. Because when I was young I did magic and stuff. And I looked up to a guy called Paul Daniels, a magician who's no longer with us. If you're not in England, Google, you'll find out who the great man was. So to me, the idea of the phrase magician always meant, I was young growing up, I was watching these tricks on TV, Saturday night prime TV, a time when there was only like 3 channels to start off with. So there was millions upon millions of viewers watching this stuff. And he'd be doing stuff and it's like, how the heck's that done? The skill, the talent behind that. And then I got involved in magic and I found out the secret actually. Once you knew it, it wasn't actually that impressive. Much the same as anything I covered yesterday or anything that's been covered today. When you know the secret, or rather all the shit's cut away, it is simplistic at heart. So when I came to learning the tarot, although I did get taught a memory system, much akin to that which Stu's covered, I figured on television at the time as well, because I was in my teenage years, well, very early teens, there was a British and I'm saying British for the people who might see these videos later, there was a British television game show called Catchphrase. If you've ever seen that, if you haven't, go on Google, search Catchphrase. And try and get it with Roy Walker, not Stephen Mulhern. People watching this on DVD. No offence to Stephen, but Roy Walker did Catchphrase better. And the idea of the game is you've got a screen, you answer a question, if you get it right, a square's removed, the one you've chosen, there's a picture underneath, and the idea is you're supposed to guess what that picture is, more importantly what proverb or saying it relates to. And the more you watch Catchphrase, the more attuned, if you like, to that way of thinking you become, and the better you become at realising what the image is sooner, with less squares removed, and the quicker you can get what that catchphrase or proverb is, which is how you win prizes. And Roy Walker's catchphrase was, say what you see. Say what you see. So when I started learning the tarot, and that's why I'm using the Magician as an example, but it applies to all 78 cards in the deck. Even if you hadn't got the memory system that you've got from this morning, truly, if you say what you see...
He's waving.
Pardon?
He's waving.
waving, okay, yeah.
That's one of his catchphrases as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, his brain wasn't clicking there, yes. Yeah, it was on one particular memorable edition. Just search, for those people looking at the DVD, search catchphrase, Mr. Chips, embarrassing outtakes. And there's one where he looks like he's doing something he shouldn't be. Yeah, indeed, I've forgotten about that till then. When I see the magician, all the cards, your symbol cards, as it were, the minor arcana, you either see the coins, or you see the cups, or you see the wands or staffs, and you see the sword. The major arcana are just pictures, but they also have the name on the bottom, conveniently, with the Rider-Waite deck at least. So the moment I saw the magician, I think of Paul Daniels. In my head, it's Paul Daniels. It's that world of wonder. It's that he knows how simple it is, but he makes it look as though he's got some skill beyond what is a mechanical magic trick. And yeah, there may be some skill involved in sleight of hand, but at the end of the day, once you've got the knack, it's always easier than it appears as an outsider. And then I looked at the little daft booklet that came with the cards. And albeit they use different words, they were essentially saying exactly the same as my gut instinct would have had me say, based on going, that says to me, Paul Daniels, magician. My other point being, at the end of the day, yes, you might have some, well, I might as well leave that there for now. You might have somebody in front of you who's read tarot cards, who's read books on it. And they might, and it will happen on occasion, I've had it happen. They go, oh, I thought the meaning of that meant such and such. As I said yesterday, just react as if this is completely normal. So, well, it may do the way you've learned, but the manner in which I read the tarot is a lot more instinctive. I just go with the feelings and the senses I'm getting from people and the way they come together. So you can never be wrong. That's the thing. And if you just trust yourself, almost, I don't want to end up, I'm on the edge of almost sounding winky wanky, airy fairy, triogified it. But if you trust yourself, go with your instinct, and literally think of it as playing catchphrase, the television game show, except here, there's no squares to be removed, because you've got all the pictures right in front of you. Just say what you see. Which interrelates back to what Stu said before about these story dice that you can get, that you throw them, and there's some images, and you're then supposed to use them as a stimulus to come up with a story, if you're writing books. Same thing, you're going to have, whether it's 7 cards, 9 cards, 3 cards, whatever type of spread you're doing, you're going to have a number of images there. Just say what you see, or maybe take a few seconds to see what you see, and then think, how can I put that together? Just go with your instinct. The first thing that jumps into your head, however ridiculous it may seem, I found over time, just trust it and go with it. And on no level am I standing here saying that if you just trust your instinct, that's gut instinct and that's intuition and it's real. No, I'm not. And personally, I think it's all bollocks. But, to slightly paradoxically borderline contradict that, I have found, more often than not, I was doing a tarot reading when I was about 14, bunking off school. I used to go to this place called Shop with a Difference in Littleborough and hire a room there. And I've got the cards there. For no logical reason whatsoever, I just suddenly saw this thought of like trees arched over like that, and 2 people walking under them down a path and a car speeding by jumped into my head. I cannot rationally say to you why that jumped into my head. Random shit. Well, what's the worst case scenario? They can say, no, that doesn't mean anything to me. I turned round and said, I don't know why, but as I'm looking at these cards, and I don't think it had anything to do with the cards, just jumped into my head. I said, I'm just getting this sense and a feeling, and that's a great phrase, I'm just getting this sense and a feeling. Because then if you say something after that, and they say, no, it makes no you know, I can't, you know, I don't understand what you're on about. You can go, well, it might be something like that, but that's the sense and feeling I'm getting. And I'm not saying you should advertise yourself as a clairvoyant who can see things, or a clairaudient who can hear things, or a clairsentient who feels things. Although when I was doing this stuff in the late 80s, early 90s, regularly, I advertised myself as being clairvoyant, clairsentient and clairaudient. So I had this wonderful get out clause of, oh, I'm just getting a feeling of it. Or if they told me, if they reacted to something I'd said earlier on, so I'd log it in my memory bank, they'd give me a major, massive clue, because they go, oh no, I think that means something to do with my hand. I'd leave it 5 or 10 minutes, later on in the reading, I'd go, you know what, I'm being told I'm getting a voice now. And I'd switch to apparently, and they're mentioning a lady by the name, if they'd mentioned somebody called Barbara earlier, I wouldn't come out with mentioning the name Barbara, because that's fucking obvious. I'd go, I don't know what it'd be. I'm getting like a buzzy sound, like a B. Could it be a name beginning with B? Babs? And I'd let them jump in and go, oh, that'll be about Barbara from earlier on. Time delay. People forget they've mentioned something to you earlier on. I can give you information you can use to leverage to make it seem more accurate and more revealing later on, if you so desire. But literally trust yourself, say what you say. That's essentially all I'm going to say regards tarot, because there's more than enough said earlier. Right, with my head mentally now, I've got 56 minutes from now till afternoon break. So, let's start with runes. Christ almighty. Right. This is not the first one we're starting with. The first one's at the back, but I don't want you to see it until the right time. Runes. Some people say, oh, you've got to have the runes that are 24 of them, which means you don't get this one, the blank one. I personally prefer the set that's got 25, so you do get the blank one. For reasons I'll come to later, because the blank one, being blank, means you've got an excuse to be able to say absolutely anything you want, because it's like a blank canvas. And there are ways, if you so desired, but if you wanted to go on the internet, for example, and type in something like magicweek.co.uk, on the right hand side there would be magic trick dealers who supply magicians, and if you were to go on their websites and click on the bit that said mentalism, and then you were to look at things like forcing bags, you can get bags that look as though people are freely selecting stuff from them, but when you want to, you can make it so that they have to pick that which you want them to. So you could freely, if you were doing a reading with, say, 7 or 8 runes, using the kind of spread that Stuart covered earlier in the day. Or for those who are only getting this on its own, that is covered in Royle's R.A.T system. You could freely let them select 6 of the 7 or 7 of the 8 runes and then force the blank one. So you've got your, I think of it as a get out of jail free card. So that because of the blank one really has no particular meaning as such, if you needed to, if you said something and they're going, no, it really makes no sense, and then they feed back some information to you that makes it clear, they go, no, what I'm really here for is X, Y or Z, because people naturally will. Then later on you can go, of course, we've got the blank one here, which I'll come to later. That's what it is. When we bring that into the equation, it means this, that, the other, and therefore you feed back to them pretty much what they told you earlier, and suddenly you've got a majorly accurate reading. And they will go away and forget the fact that you apparently didn't get it right earlier. They will go away and they will forget. They'll choose to forget. But it's not important to them. There's an emotional attachment to stuff that resonates with them as being correct. There's not really an emotional attachment to things that have no interest in them. they'll go away and say that you said this, and this, and it was all right. So they go away and become a walking billboard for you, and hence help you get more clients. So ultimately, runes, you get a number of them picked in the same way as you would do tarot. You put them in a spread in the same way as you would do tarot. So immediately we save time because you already know about spreads. It's just about what do the runes mean. Now the truth is, runes can mean whatever you bloody want them to. Because whatever you say is the authority figure is what they mean. And if somebody turns around to you and says, that's not what my book on learn the runes in a month means, you go, well, that's not the way I'm doing it. Who's the professional here type thing, that kind of attitude. Just remain the authority figure. However, that said, I do believe that if you keep reasonably close to what the mass populace, who may have read a book from the library or been bought a book or seen in a set of runes they got given at Christmas or whatever, may have read, that it is, well, you avoid that potential issue of them going, oh, that's not what the books say, and therefore it can appear more credible. So how do you remember them? Well, I'll be totally honest with you. The runes I did not start using until about 3 years ago. And the reason was because I could never bloody remember what they meant. Whereas the tarot cards, there was an easy way with the numbers, what the suits mean, and then I'll just emphasise this because Stu didn't mention this earlier. He told you all the bits, but he didn't tell you one key thing. You should be glaringly obvious, but sometimes the obvious things are the things we miss. So you know your numbers 1 to 10, what they mean. 1, beginnings. 2s, 2 people will be a partnership. And if it's a nice partnership, whether it's business or personal, that's harmonious. 3, my memory aid is that 2's, the saying 2's companies, 3's a crowd. It could potentially mean conflicts. Ever so slightly different than what Stu said. But that would still remind me of all the stuff that Stuart did say